Hey, shalom, shalom, mashpacha. I'm just here in my car on my lunch. I just wanted to update everybody on the prayer request, kind of explain the answer, but also ask for another prayer request in tandem to that. So it was denied, but the reason is actually a very good one. And so I see who is handing it, and I already asked the person, my coworker, if I could talk about this and ask for prayer. I told him I wouldn't say his name or anything like that. So he said absolutely. So I have his approval to go ahead and share this. But the reason why it got denied is because the time off request was exactly at the same time as my coworker's court date. And this has been going on for like, what, almost 2 years now or something like that. Long story short, he was driving to Idaho on a vacation, and he tried to go in the passing lane and he got in a car accident. He ended up killing both of the people in the other car. It was a brother and sister, and of course it was not intentional. There was no, like, if you met this guy, you would know that he doesn't want to hurt like anyone. He's such a loving, kind, compassionate person. He loves children and everything like that. It was literally just an accident. And throughout this entire court case, they've actually had multiple crash incidents in that same area because there is a blind spot according to how the road is. So they've had surveyors go out and figure out all this stuff and anything, you know. But needless to say, the parents are grieved because they lost their children, rightfully so. But they have put him through the coals, like raked him through the coals rather. And he's done everything by the book. He's gone above and beyond. You know, he's had to turn himself in multiple times. It's just ridiculous. They've had him drive all the way to Idaho and turn himself in. And he's just done everything right. And they've really tried to work the case, but the parents basically just want to see him life in prison. And it's not that I don't have compassion or remorse for what happened to. It's just like, we all take risks when we're in the car. Like, you know, Yahuwah favors us, and I believe that those that are his, like it says in Deuteronomy, Baruch are you when you go out, and Baruch are you when you come in. I believe that, especially if we listen and obey his voice, and if he tells us, no, you're not going to go here today, then we don't go. You know, like, so I believe that we, in his sheep, like his people, I believe we have an upper hand of favor in that regard when we drive in these cars. But it's still is a risk, you know, like, and Yahuwah obviously knows when a soul is required. So, like, you know, who knows how we're all going to go. Yahuwah knows how we're all going to go. But point being, though, is even in the Torah, there is provision for this. Like, if someone did something by accident, he has a city of refuge that he can live out his life in until the judge dies. And it basically, he can't, until the judge dies, and I believe that also the people die. Like, if he outlives them, then he can come back. I could be wrong on that, but essentially he has to stay in that city of refuge. And when I first heard about all this, you know, that was the first thing I thought about. And I was like, man, this is an opportunity where we need Yahuwah's Torah in our lives, because this is a perfect right ruling situation. He would have been able to have a city of refuge to live out his days, and that would have solved the matter, because there was no ill intent. You know, it was not premeditated or anything like that. But of course, we don't have that legal system that upholds that Torah value and practices it. You know, we have had inherited a lot of concepts and precepts from the Torah in this judicial system that we have. Hence the term judicial system, going back to Jew, going back to Yahudim, of course. But anyway, all that to be said, I personally believe that it's going to work out for him. I have Amunah. That has been my Amunah in the beginning for him. He knows. I've told him about Yahuwah. We've prayed together, and, you know, I believe that Yahuwah is favoring him. There was even a time, it was so sweet. There was a time in one of his court hearings when he had to go testify and everything, and he said, I feel like, I believe it was Yahuwah telling me, you know, to just it's going to be okay or something like that. I can't remember. I have it in my text history. I'd have to go back and read it. But all that to be said, I've seen Yahuwah's favor upon him, and my heart has been grieved over this situation for him, because it's close to me as well, because I've gone through legal stuff, and it's very frustrating, and it does feel like you're at Yahuwah's mercy, you know, and his kindness, and because he is ultimately the judge of the audits, and he can will one thing to go a certain way and will another thing to go a certain way. It's up to him. And so, all that to be said, I ask for prayers. We'll just call him coworker H, and we'll just pray for him, because during that time, this is like, they've been putting off this final ruling for a long time, because there's, you know, litigation and legal. He's had a bunch of lawyer fees. It's crazy. But this, I think, is the finalization of the date, because they've moved it a few times, but I think that this is it. Like, and so that's why it's non-negotiable for me to be able to get the time off, because he can't get that time off. Like, you know, there's a specific reason why, and it's a legal reason. And so, yeah, and that's okay. It's all in Yahuwah's hands, but I just wanted to reach out to the community and get more people praying for him as we're approaching this time. I can get specific dates, and I'll make another post about it for the specific dates and everything, and of course as we get closer to it. But again, I really believe it's going to work out in his favor, but just prayers that Yahuwah's perfect will be done, and because that's what we want. We want his right ruling, and we want his perfect will. So but anyway, thank you all, Toda to all who prayed and lifted me up for this time that I was trying to get off and everything. But I see Yahuwah's hand in it, and I just wanted to get on here to update all of you guys, and as well as reach out and ask for prayers for my coworker H. So anyway, much ahab to you guys. Yahuwah barak you. Shalom.